All right, welcome back to Daily Maths Concepts. What we're looking at today is a GCSE paper. We're looking at some exponential questions quickly. All right, so number one says here, find the value of the fourth root of 81 times 10 to the 8th. All right, so what we can do here is to understand what the fourth root really means. All right, so the fourth root is a quarter power, right? That's a quarter power. Square root, just more ideas, is half power. And a cube root or third root is 1/3 power. All right, so those are just stuff that we will be using. This thing that we have here, basically, if we should write this over, it's 81 raised to the power of 1/4 times 10 to the 8th to the power of a quarter. So we could break this down without calculator easily by just representing 81. 81 can be represented as 3 to the 4th power, and then that would be to the 1/4 times 10 to the 8th to the 1/4. So we could cancel right now. So we're talking about 4 into itself 1, 4 into itself 1, 4 into itself 1, 4 into 8, 2, and we're left with 3 times 10 to the second, which is the same thing as 3 times 100, which is 300 there. So understanding the root system is good for us. All right, we're looking at 64 to the negative a half. 64 to the negative a half can be rewritten as 1/64 to the half, because the negative power here is indicating inverse, and inverse is 1/, the idea. Remember though that a half power, depending on what you want to do, is the same thing as a square root. So this is actually the same thing. All right, so mentally, you know the square root of 64. The answer would have been 1/8. But let us say that you don't know the square root of 64. We would love to take this idea and represent it without a calculator. So basically then, having had 1/64, the half power of 64, can be written as 1/8 to the second times a half. So here we could cancel a half, the 2, 1, 2 into 7, 1, and we're left with 1 at the top with 8 at the bottom. We'll get the same thing. Let's look at this one. Write 3 raised to the power of n over 9 raised to the power of n minus 1 as a power of 3, which means that we're going to be writing the answer as 3 raised to some power, right? So this is where we are heading. Basically then, we're going to try to represent this idea in powers of, with a base of 3. For example, at the top, 3 raised to the n is okay for now. Underneath, I'm going to represent the 9 using a power of 3 which is 3 squared, that is 9. And then outside I have n minus 1. Bear in mind that some things that we have to recall. We have to recall a few things from indices. We want to recall that if a to the n is raised to the m, it is equal to a raised to the nm. When a power is raised to a power, we multiply the powers. If we have a to the n times a to the m, it is the same thing as a to the n plus m. When we multiply the same base, we add their powers. Also, a to the n divided by a to the m is the same thing as a to the n minus m. When we divide the same base, we subtract their powers. We want to recall that. So we're going to be using this first one here right now. We're going to be using this idea. So in so doing, what we're going to have is 3 to the n over, and now here is when we're going to be utilizing that power raised to a power there. We're going to multiply those. So we're going to have 3 raised to the 2n minus 2. And if, just in case you're wondering, the 2, the n minus 1, with the distributive law, we will get 2n minus 2. So that's what we just picked up right there. In moving further now, we want to simplify this. We're going to be dividing. So basically, let's look at it like this. 3 raised to the n will be divided by 3 raised to the 2n minus 2. We're now going to be employing this law of indices. When you divide the same base, you subtract their powers. So as you can see here, the base is 3. And then n minus, I'm going to put this in a bracket, 2n minus 2. And then now finally, 3 to the n minus 2n, and then this will be a positive 2. We can see that we can simplify this. We can see that we can simplify right here. So in simplification, our final response will be 3 raised to the negative n plus 2. If not, we could have said 3 raised to the positive 2 and then a minus n. All right, there you go. Thank you for watching Daily Maths Concepts. Look out for the next video. See you next time.